Good evening, everyone. It's wonderful that we all are here for this great panel on the subject of subtle practices to harmonizing Sanskars. So to dive deep into this topic, we have a fantastic lineup here of panelists and our facilitator, Brother Neville. So good evening and welcome. I'm Madhvi from New York, and I'm here to introduce them. And let me tell you, when I was looking at their bios are like books. So I was thinking where to start. But a few lines about each one of them. So let me start with Brother Neville. Brother Neville is a UK-based journalist and author who explores the connections between science, health, and spirituality. A former medical and science correspondent for the Sunday Times, Sunday Express, and Daily Mail. He has reported on groundbreaking discoveries while also challenging mainstream ideas. His books include Will to Be Well, and this links between health and happiness and aids the failure of contemporary science. And his latest book, I Know How to Live, I Know How to Die. And this shares insights from Dadi Janki, blending science with timeless teachings on inner peace and resilience. And Brother Neville, you were in New York for this book promotion, and it was great to have you in 2015, I think. And so next, joining him is Sister Sudha. Sister Sudha, with over 50 years of experience in knowledge, and she has played a key role in establishing Brahma Kumari centers across Russia and neighboring countries. A speaker at international conferences, she collaborates with the Russian Parliament and various organizations on cultural and spiritual initiatives. Her book, Unending Treasures, became a bestseller in Russia, and she has received numerous awards for her contributions to education, peace, and human values. Really, her bio has so many awards. And Sister Luciana, who brings a deep passion for the connection between inner transformation and environment harmony. Sister Luciana is the national coordinator of the Brahma Kumaris in Brazil. With decades of experience, she has represented the Brahma Kumaris at international conferences, including UN summits on peace, climate, and social change. A sociologist and educator, Sister Luciana has led impactful global initiatives promoting a culture of peace and sustainability. And finally, Brother Eric, who is stepping in because last minute, because Sister Maureen, for some reason, she couldn't join us. And so Brother Eric is like my big brother in New York. And what should I say about Brother Eric? 40 years in Gyan. He's in Global Harmony House in New York. He serves at the NCO office, and he conducts many retreats at Peace Village, and many more things. And one thing about Brother Eric is whenever we need anything, he's there for us as a big brother, supporting us in so many ways, in paperwork and so many ways. So welcome everyone, thank you, and we look forward to hearing from all of you. Over to you, Brother Neville.
Om Shanti, and thank you very much for those introductions. Yes, this really is a very experienced panel, so you should get some good clues about how to harmonize Sanskars, which is an issue that I'm sure everybody is challenged by, unless you're a total hermit. If you've gone to live as a sannyasi somewhere away from everything, you might not have to harmonize Sanskars, but otherwise, so important. And subtle ways of harmonizing Sanskars is our topic, not gross ways of harmonizing Sanskars, an example of which might be that you tolerate something, you manage not to speak back, but actually you're not really facing, you're not harmonizing. But subtle ways of harmonizing sanskars are really interesting and give us a taste of the golden age, actually, when we succeed in that. So I'd like to begin by asking Sister Luciana, who, as you heard, has had so many years. She's worked closely with Brother Ken in Brazil from 45 years, something like that, and seen the service in South America grow from nothing to many countries, hundreds of centers in different parts of that world. So huge experience. And Luciana, what is your understanding of subtle ways of harmonizing sanskars?
Om Shanti and good evening. When I got this invitation and this topic, naturally I start to think about it. And I thought to myself, am I the right person to be in this panel? Because I don't feel that in my personality itself, I have cultivated so many of these subtle tricks or subtle yuktis. But one thing that came into my mind, it was that maybe we always, as a family, we have to do some work of prevention. Not just when the problems arise, not just when the difficulties in relationships are there. And for that, I think that two areas that are the most difficult in terms of the relationship between Brahmins, it is the area of communication and the area of focus, paying attention. And I think that if, as a family, as a group, as a community, we could pay more attention in developing ways and skills and methodologies to bridge our communication and also to create more focus in Baba's task. Because most of the difficulties that we have are in Baba's task. It's when we are doing service together. And I think that that would create like a prevention in terms of it. So this is one thing that I've been working and I've been paying attention, and of course there are more things that I can share later.
How does that work in practice? You're paying more attention to listening, paying more attention to being clear?
Yeah, paying more attention in all areas. Of course, paying more attention in your dharana, in your inner practice, but also paying more attention when you are with someone, when you are doing service with someone, when you are talking to someone, being present, or even when you are doing some Baba service, then you are present in whatever you are doing. Because most of the centers, the service, it's just because people don't pay attention, and these occupy time, energy, and also feelings. I can give you an example that happened 5 minutes ago, okay? Just happened now. This morning, because in Brazil it's 8 hours and a half behind, so this morning after Amrita Vela, I sent a message to all the main teachers. And I said something about maybe would you like to suggest who would you like that we invite this year for Raki in Brazil? So a very open invitation, right? And one sister, you know, said, why don't we invite Sister Mohini? And the other one said, why don't we invite Sister Shivani? You know, I mean, I'm talking about sisters of more than 30 years of Gyan. I'm not talking about small BKs, you know. So, and I even had the patient to answer because I didn't need even to answer. So I gave the reasons, and one of the things I said, just look back, and and have a look on this conversation with Sister Shivani that has already happened in our group. So people don't read, people don't pay attention, and so they waste their time, they waste our time, and this creates some feelings, because not just the sister said that, but at least 3 or 4 others answer to it. Oh, it's a very good idea. So you wonder, am I living in the real world, or what is happening, you know? So some practical thing in terms of communication, and I think I am a clear communicator. And not just that, like I do feel that if there is someone that shares everything with the Brahmin family, it's me. I don't hide anything. All the communication, all the news, everything. I have this pleasure to sharing with the Brahmin community. So this is an example.
Thank you. You used a term of presence, and that is actually something. I was editing a book recently by Bill and Enrique from Spain. It's a beautiful, beautiful book, published in Spain, in Spanish, I'm sure, but it's an English translation. And the theme of it actually is that conscious presence comes up again and again, that this is like, it's more than being in the moment, it's also having wisdom, you know, so that you can hold that conscious presence. It's a lovely, lovely term. Thank you, Luciana. Sudha Ben, Didi, Sudha, yeah. You not only were you a founding member of the team that went in to start service in the former Soviet Union in Russia, but you've overseen the growth of the Brahmakumaris to many neighboring countries. You're in the middle of a war in a sense as well. So what insights would you like to share on this topic? Subtle ways of improving our harmonizing of sanskars.
Om Shanti, and thank you, Brother Neville, and to both of you that we are together on the stage. When I think of the word subtle, for me, subtlest of the subtle is the soul and the Supreme Soul and His wisdom. So when we talk of harmonizing sanskars, so I think this, the subtle practices, when I recall my being in Russia since more than 35 years now, so I recall a number of such examples. And on the basis of that, I would say 2 things. Number 1 is that when someone is not like behaving properly or answering properly or not doing the task properly, and you go on listening to the complaints about this person from here, there, and everywhere, that this person is like this and this and this. So there was such situation, and I remember very well, probably this is the subtle practice, that when I was listening to the complaints about this one person from hundreds of PKs, and very good BKs, very old Pakka Brahmins. So something, probably it was Baba's special help, or maybe my inner effort, that I was listening to the complaint but not listening. I was not allowing that to enter my heart. That is, I didn't have even 0.0001% negative feeling for this person. not even that. And the result of that was that that task which that person did not do during 1 year, and after this big meeting, when he openly said that he will not do it, and even then I didn't allow, and it did not come actually to me, it's not that I didn't allow, that not even 0.00001% of this negative feeling enter me. And after the meeting, after just 2-3 minutes, he calls me back and tells me that he will do it. And how much time it will take? He says 7 days. Fine. But next day, morning before the class, he comes and he does this task during the whole night and brings this disc ready with songs, which he did not do during full year. So what I want to tell you here is the subtle practice of harmonizing sanskars is when you do not allow something real negative in someone to enter your heart, then it is possible to touch the heart of that soul, and which will enable that soul to transform. This is number one, my experience. And number two, what I would like to share is, there was one situation when one very old sister, she came in class in very, not proper dressed up. So I was really surprised. I was reading the Murli, and when I looked at her, I was so to say shocked. It was long, long ago. So what has happened to this sister? Why the sister has come in the class like this? This thought came during the Murli. Can you imagine? Murli finished. I went to the office. I began to remember Baba. And the thought comes, that soul is playing her role. And while looking at that role, why are you spoiling your role? You play your role. And my attitude towards that soul instantly changed. Instantly. And the result was, it was very, very good. It was, that sister did it. It was sort of she wanted to provoke or something like that. So here again I would like to say that Baba's wisdom, that each soul plays this or that role at a given point of time in drama, but why do you allow that soul's role to affect your role? Do you remember your own role? And so when we talk of harmonizing sanskars, first comes the question of self-transformation. Self-transformation. And when my attitude, like Baba yesterday also said, your drishti, your vritti, when this changes, that is when you bring this transformation in you, then it becomes possible for harmonizing the sanskars.
Those are two very powerful examples, and you're reminding me actually of Daddy Janki, who I studied with for many years in London, and there were times when the London family would be puzzled because there might be some issue that was clearly wrong, it needed putting right in some way, but Daddy would never do anything that would leave damage, on an individual who might be doing wrong, but she would sometimes allow a situation to continue for a long time, just giving those good wishes to the individuals involved, and it would puzzle us sometimes that she didn't deal with it, because it seemed to be a source of a problem for many perhaps, but she would just do as you were describing actually. She would see the quality in that person. And I remember one story where, I think Sister Jenti might have told this story, that there was something needed putting right, and Daddy said to her something like, but can you do what that soul is doing? Can you be what that soul is being? And it's that valuing of the contribution of an individual, even if they are creating some difficulties in other areas, which is really useful. It takes a lot of power to do that.
True. You know, I also think this way that, you know, when you are taking care of a big place and there are few Brahmins, and when the question of harmonizing sanskars, not with me, but among themselves come, you know, one person is not satisfied with another and so on. So, and then you begin to listen that this is happening from this one, from that one. So I always ask this question, okay, let's remove this person. Is it fine? Will we be able to manage without this person? If we can ask this person, okay, please, you can't live in the center, you should do this or that, whatever. So can we manage without this person? All become silent. So that means, yes, everyone has something to work upon, whether they have attention at the moment or not, but they have to work. But at the same time, there are many positive things which are needed for Baba's task. And if the focus is there, then also it becomes easy. Okay, so just don't pay attention, just forget about it. It's like that.
And one of the practices that you mentioned was looking at yourself as well, which is also so powerful. Sometimes there's such a tendency to believe that the problem lies outside. But when we, of course, the daddies always used to say, one finger pointing outwards, three pointing back at you. And I've just learned over the years that that tendency to blame external circumstances, it never helps, does it? It's only when you and like I think you gave the example that when there was a difficult situation, to take that as a challenge, as a test, and Luciana was implying the same, that you strengthen yourself because of that situation, draw more power from Baba, be more present, then you turn a difficult situation into an advantage. There's a famous saying, turning stumbling blocks into stepping stones, you know, which you both giving examples of that. And Brother Eric is an old friend. I'm amazed by how he sits at the hub of the operation in the United States, and very little going. I mean, he has Sister Mohini and a number of sisters nearby, but they live in the White House, and Eric is at the heart of affairs for America. And somehow he always, whenever I meet him, he always seems to be not a kind of soft brother in any way, but always very, very polite and humorous. So I think you bring some very useful sanskars for the role that you play, Eric. But you face your challenges sometimes?
Constantly. And we all do, I believe, are facing a challenge because it's a good thing. I'm going to echo a couple of the ideas and concepts that were mentioned, maybe duplicate and reframe them. Sister Maureen gives her excuses for not being here. She would say something wonderful that would transform you and make you elevated and almost perfect. However, she's not here, and so I'm going to do my best to play that role, even though we can't play anybody else's role. And as we talk about Sanskars, one of the aspects that has been mentioned and comes up is the difference between the soul and the Sanskars. And the easiest way, I don't know if it's harmonizing, but to get through is not to see the individual's Sanskars, but to always recognize that this is God's child, perfect being, soul, because that helps me empower myself in that state. And if I'm looking at someone from that point of view, then what they're doing isn't who they are. And that's a huge concept for me to hold on to, that you are not your actions. You are not what you have done. You are not your circumstances. You are not your Sanskars. You have them, but they change. And we're all changing them. And so part of it is don't harmonize with old Sanskars. Okay, why would you want your center to be getting along if you were still kind of in Ravan's kingdom? And so the harmonizing of Sanskars is to recognize that we're all working towards something, we're all elevating ourselves, and let me see the potential of the others. I think that's what Baba does in the Murlis so much. He sees us, you are this, you are this. And for me, I take that on. Yeah, that's me. I got a crown on my head, and it's good like this. I'm going to fly around. Whatever it is that he is saying, if I move into that, then I have that experience. And Baba holds that vision. And if we can hold that vision for others, then we're kind of sidestepping the Sanskar issue. Why did you do this? Why did you do this? You can get a lot of energy wasted in the stuff that is based on old ways of thinking. And so it often starts with the self. And another checking point for me is, and we get great opportunities often, you probably have many here today, where things aren't going exactly the way you think it should, okay? You shouldn't have done that. Why are you sitting that way? How come this is there? Long line, this and that, clean room. All sorts of stuff goes on around us that can trigger us. And if it's a person's behavior or their way of doing something, what is it in me that is reacting to that? And so the subtle Sanskars aren't trying to negotiate, but it's more of a looking inward. What's happening inside of me when you do that? What is it that is there? And one way to look at that is it's a sense of purifying. What is it in me that is reacting to you? Is your ego pulling ego out of me? Is your mistake making me think that I am better, that I know the way to do it and let me correct you? I've got individuals who sometimes say, well, I'll teach them. It's like, well, Baba's the teacher, actually. We can model the behavior that we want for others. But rarely have I seen someone try to communicate and point out what's wrong and have a receptive audience. It doesn't often work. And it definitely doesn't work that if you tell somebody something and they don't respond, to say it louder so that maybe they will hear it this time. That usually doesn't work either, you know? You don't understand? Well, let me say it again louder. That doesn't work so well. It doesn't work for me. And one of the other things that I want to bring out, and maybe you can understand, but if you do any kind of music, any one note is good. They're all good, okay? Think of a piano, hit a note, that's a nice note, okay? And whatever note comes to you, you have the choice of the next note. How are you going to respond? How are you going to react? What are you going to do? Because you have a choice of making something dissonant or a nice harmonic. You can harmonize any note when you listen to it, as we kind of mentioned that, and respond in a way that will allow that to be nice to hear. And so if you are working on yourself, if you are thinking about yourself, if you are seeing an elevated soul, if you are able to kind of look at yourself, you'll typically know what to do or say that will not cause a problem. Sometimes not saying anything is sufficient. If someone comes with anger, here's a soul, anger has entered into them. I'm going to allow myself to be pulled into anger, yes or no. And if I don't, and I'm observing, then the next note sometimes is silence. And so it's going to sound okay, and it's going to dissipate. And so our ability to respond to what comes to us in a way that is going to be aligned with ourself, seeing them in an elevated way, and be able to make some sort of a clarity or a love or a friendship or whatever it is, becomes a great game. What can I do at this moment so that I advance both of us towards our golden aged stage? And if you can transform interactions not as power struggles, but as opportunities to be creative about what you're going to do, you're not necessarily going to transform sanskars, but you're going to let some of them just go away. And they're going to be replaced with other ones that automatically come. That might work out.
Great, thank you. I remember it dawning on me, not so very long ago, maybe 10 years ago, that when I was reactive to someone else's sanskars, I realized it was always because I'd got that one in me, you know. And it's like a sensitivity, like if you've got an injury and, you know, anything touches it, it hurts. And similarly, if you've got some ego lurking inside, then you're more likely to be reactive to someone else's ego than if you're free of ego. But, one of the things that I was thinking of on this topic was the daddies, the senior daddies. Not all of you will have known them, but we saw these three, especially, the Daddy Gulzar, Daddy Janki and Daddy G, Daddy Prakashmani, very different personalities, utterly different. Daddy Janki, the absolute driving teacher, Daddy G, a brilliant administrator, loving everyone in the kind of ways that Eric and others have been describing, and Daddy Gulzar, beyond, just beyond, and loving and smoothly moving through everything. And the three of them got on really well. They were brilliant. Very good example of how this knowledge doesn't turn you all into some kind of, you know, standard suite, like in a robot factory. Our individuality remains. Baba uses our individualities, but this divinization allows the harmonization. And I love this idea that Eric has mentioned, that playing with the words, the harmonics of harmonizing sanskars, a brilliant idea. But I've got a feeling that perhaps some of you, maybe, especially if you're quite new to this journey, you're hearing from very experienced yogis, but what about if things are not always so powerful? You know, things hurt sometimes. We do let them in, and we've got those weaknesses that we can't just bounce negative things off. Sometimes people are unkind, and we feel it. Of course, we know that to keep drawing on Baba's power is the way forward, perhaps the only way to really change our own internal state. But what about when something has actually hit you? You know, you've really hurt by it. How do you deal with that then, to get over it quickly? Luciana.
Listening to three of you, So many thoughts, so many experiences, so many stories came to my mind. So I just want to address a very simple one, because you mentioned Daddy Janki and all your closeness with Daddy Janki and all the other daddies. And I do remember one situation that happened in Brazil that Daddy had a say on that situation. It was one of the earliest members of Brahma Kumars, and she was very prominent, this sister. She was the coordinator of a center, and it was the time of Million Minutes. And if you remember, just after Million Minutes, there was a kind of change of perception in the Brahmin world, because it was the first time that we went out to the Lokik world and connecting with people and all these kind of things. So there was this sister who started to do things that were not appropriated due to our mariadas, even like going to the movies and going to restaurants and so on. So my immediate reaction was, this sister has to move out from the center. How she can be the coordinator. But do you know what Daddy said to me at that time and to Brother Ken? She said, don't remove her from the center. Because if you do that, she will always have that regret that she was put out of the center. But her behavior will put her out of the center. So that's what you said, if something still hurt you. And it does. About a year ago, really had, I think, the biggest suffering in my life in the Brahmin family. And you know, like, one thing is you as a human being, as an effort maker, BK, but another thing is the position that you have to have as Baba's instrument. You know, Baba put you there. And I think that humility plays a lot of importance in this, because, and this I try to do, so what I'm sharing is a real thing, it's not theory. We are not owners of anyone. So as Baba's instrument in service, I make sure that I know what is going on in terms of administration, and I have a group of people that help me to take decisions and to move forward, especially Brother Ken, and when it's necessary, Sister Mohini. So when it's about, you know, like deciding things and so on, and administrate service and the centers and so on, of course, this information has to come to me. But in terms of mentorship, spiritual mentorship of the BKs, they are free. They can have whoever they want in the whole world. If they want to ring Sister Sudha to get some spiritual advice, they are free to do that. You know? So it's not up to me to control people's lives. And I think that this is very, very important. Even I practice this, like I have a lot of respect and regard for my seniors, but for a long time, Sister Mohini is our person in the Americas, so I pay more respect, my respect, and the administration from Brazil, the information goes to Sister Mohini. But the one from whom I used to take mentorship was Didi Nirmala. You see? So I think that we have this freedom, and when there is that flexibility, it's a kind of looseness in that sense. Like, if the soul doesn't like so much you, why she has to be obliged to get, you know, orientation from you? And even, for instance, when I see that there is someone that maybe has some difficulty with me, I do ask. Even recently, for instance, there was a situation, and the sister is very close to me, but I was very busy and coming to India and so on. So I asked 2 other sisters, could you please sit with this one and try to solve this situation? So we should not be the ones who control everyone. This freedom and this, to have this humility, I think is very important.
That's great learning. Was you went onto that track? Was that because of some hurt that you had experienced? Was it in this territory where someone had behaved in a way that you felt wasn't right, but then you let go? Was that what the process was there?
In 45 years, so many things happened, and I think that this is like what I said, the separation from, it hurt my human being, but as Baba's instrument, I can give you a practical example, and it's an old example. There was a sister who was responsible for the Murlis in Brazil. And you know, that time Murli was a kind of treasure, hidden treasure, no one could touch, no one could do anything, it could not be exposed for anyone. It was that time. So this sister was the one, she had the file of 5 years Murli, and she was the one who would print and distribute and control it. And it happened that I had a CD of the 5 years Murli in my hands, and somehow I asked someone if she could do something with that file. And the other sister came to know. She became furious, because it was a time, some of you old remember, Murlis were like, no one can touch it, no? So she became furious, saying that she was the one who controls the Murli, and I should not have given to that younger sister. She was younger. And she hit me physically in the office. And you know, my feeling was, maybe I would remove this service from that sister. But my attitude was not like that. It was like Sister Sudha has mentioned. She was good. She was capable. She was excellent in doing that service. So, you know, I felt she hit me, the BK Luciana, but I'm not that. So this is some 30 years ago. She's still the sister who does this role.
Wow. Yeah.
So, and we interact very nicely. Of course, now it's different because Murlis are open and so on. So she has a different role, but she's the main one in taking care of the Murlis. And we have very good relationship. You know, because our interaction is on spiritual terms and not personal friendship.
Right. Yeah, that's beautiful. Ben, you know how Avyak Baba sees us pretty much like Eric was saying, we should all see one another, you know, that we see the soul, not the role. And that is definitely a very powerful way of harmonizing sanskars. But Sakhar Baba constantly kind of gives us both realities. He says, you know, you are these future deities, but you're also vicious, you know, at the end of the Iron Age. You've got 63 births of negative behavior that you're carrying. You've got those sanskars still. So when sometimes we feel as if we're still the victims of those negative sanskars, so how do we, if you're feeling like that, how do you kind of maintain your self-respect and move forward? Recognizing that you've still some stuff to deal with, but just to harmonize with yourself in a way, with your own sanskars.
Now, a long life has passed, many, many years with Baba, and some of the practices which are a part of my life, they help me a lot. And one of the practices is that before Amrit Vela, I give myself a thought, who am I? And this is happening since many years, and with this thought, I go to Baba's room, and after Amrit Vela, when I read the Murli before the class, and this thought remains with me. And if at all some old sanskar begins to emerge at some point of time, for example, one of the, you can say, good sanskars is, I like accuracy. And everything should be done very accurately, everything at the right place, in the right form, and so on and so forth. If the place for knife is this, the knife should be here, scissors, this scissor should be here, and not the other way, and so on. So my way of working is like this. So, but when I see that somebody has put the other way around, for example, so that the old sanskar, that why this person is not able to understand it, that this is like this, this can emerge, but I have taught myself, and still keeping on teaching me, that if you react, even at the level of thoughts, you are a failure. You are a failure. So, okay, either accept that that person does not know or does not have the sanskar of putting the things at the right place. Either accept it or do it yourself. Put at the right thing. So, otherwise, you will spoil your own stage. Your mood may go off even for 2 minutes. Then your connection with Baba will be lost. And in that stage, if somebody comes with a question or a tough situation or something like that, so not in that very positive set of mind, you may not respond properly. So the things will go on spoiling. So this practice of creating a thought early in the morning before Amrit Vela helps me a lot. And this is number one. And number two, I have now, taught myself that everybody has his own way. And if you like that way, so you'd do like that, and so on. And so therefore, the things go on very well. And one more thing which I wanted to say was, there are people now lesser and lesser, but there was a time when people try to somehow create conflict between two. For example, Brother Vijay and me lived together in Moscow, and so some people will behave in such a way that we will have some kind of a conflict and some kind of a misunderstanding is created. It was many years ago, but we had such an understanding with each other, such an understanding that nobody could succeed in creating the conflict. Nobody. So when the question of harmonizing sanskars comes, it has different facets, different. And so then instead of blaming anybody that person is wrong or this one is wrong and so on, so you look at yourself and something is clarified, everything goes on well. And the last thing, I remember when you were talking to Luciana, that when you were hurt, there was a time, a situation came when somebody blamed me. It was really horrible, and so I could not sleep the whole night because of that. And it was also many years ago, and next day we had to go for a meeting with somebody after the class. I remember how Baba also helps. And so what happened was that I was very silent and little sad that how could that person say these words and so on. And so in that state of mind, I just put on the cassette player in the car. And the song which started, not from the very beginning, but the words which began, they were the answer to my question. And so everything was fine. And so Baba also does his work a lot, so that you don't feel hurt and you don't carry these feelings with you for a long time.
Thank you so much. These very experienced instruments really demonstrate the truth and the value of the saying that our deepest feelings send out vibrations that change the world around us. And so, when you really understand this, it becomes so important and valuable to be able to make sure that the deep feelings that you're carrying are positive, because that impacts the outside world in ways that no amount of administration or words or other kind of responses can do. Maintaining those deep feelings which come, as you said, when you keep Baba with you, and if you have lost Baba, to find a way of ensuring that you get back to having him with you. Fantastic. Yeah. Eric, how do you give us some final advice on this aspect? If something's happened and you do feel bad about yourself because you didn't respond so well, how do you move on from that?
You mean like right now?
No,
Because we ran out of time. You didn't give me the time to do it. I feel you didn't respect me. I feel very hurt. But I'm just going to go deep into silence and pull myself out of that, and it's going to be over. So that's how that works. It is 7, and we were told 7 o'clock Sister Mohini was joining. Is that correct?
That's right, yeah. So thank you a lot. It was a powerful conversation, right? Lots to learn, lots of wonderful stories, insights. So, I took very good notes. I wanted to share some key points, but we don't have time, so we will go straight into some silence and wait for Sister Mohini Didi's arrival online. So, yes, you can actually. Yeah, thank you.
progress.
Om Shanti. Can you see them? Oh, yeah.
Are we going to have the screen or not?
You'll be seeing her on these screens. So you will see the Didi on these screens. And Didi can see us, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Om Shanti, like that.
Om Shanti, Didi. Can we all wave our hands, Didi? Welcoming her. Didi, it's beautiful to have your presence. We all are waiting. Here in Gyan Sarovar, we are about 260 double foreigners in Gyan Sarovar right now, and everyone is seated, eagerly waiting to hear from you. And and so how many of you, I just wanted to ask you, how many of you listen to Avyakti Parivar every day? I must say, Didi is so tireless. Every single day, she is on Avyakti Parivar. So you can actually tune in to Avyakti Parivar on Zoom or YouTube and listen to her every single day. So Didi, once again, with lots of love and regards, welcoming you, and we look forward to hearing from you now. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. I am very, very happy to see all of you. I know I would have been happier if I could be there. Because Madhuban is the place where we are able to meet, have spiritual sharings, and also to be present in international, global Baba's family. It's the largest family in the world, God's family, right? Baba's very, very not only lovely, special, but very valuable child. Everyone. Everyone is a valuable child. And Baba has chosen each one because of some specialities, some special capacities. And two thoughts which Baba recently had been reminding us. One is of self-respect. Even just to think that I am God's child, I am godly student, and I am also follower of Sadguru, God as Sadguru. Recently Baba said you all are lucky that when you think of one, you don't have to think of three. Because generally in Lokik life, you have father, you think of father, then you have teacher, then you have separate guru, and all three have different directions to give. Here, same teachings, same directions. So Baba said it should be easy, right? And I like that very much. So self-respect. And at this time, every one of us, we are Baba's helpers. We are servers of the world, humanity, whole humanity. everyone in the world through our pure thoughts, pure feelings, what Baba calls as Sakash. So we are at world service. Some people think, am I a world server? Am I a world benefactor? I would say everyone, all of us, we are God's helpers, everyone, and world servers. Right? God serves the world, and each one of us, we serve the world. We are sitting with the seed of the tree, and the seed serves the whole tree. Even if people put water on the top of the tree, all the water comes down, right? So we receive and take from one. So these days our action, interaction is not with just human beings, right? But it is with one Baba, one God. But second important thing with self-respect, which recently Baba had been saying, Baba uses the word or translation as unity, but I call it harmony. And I always feel that it begins within the self. If you are internally in conflict, you are doubtful, you are going through settling, sometimes you start expressing. So then you have conflict with others, like, dislike, or whatever our behavior is within the interaction with the souls, we express it from within. But if I am peaceful within, my yoga is with Baba, then you are loveful, you are peaceful. And what everyone looks at is we are equal with everyone for everything. Nobody could say I'm better with this one, I like this one. No, I like everyone. I love everyone. Everyone is very, very important to Baba and within the family, so that we can keep getting blessings from others. At this time, what more important is blessing. As much blessings you receive, your past accounts keep getting clear. So self-respect, and then second important thing, inner harmony. And for that, Baba said, solitude. Solitude doesn't mean I close the doors of my room, or I am in few days in silence, which I have never done. But to kind of, as often as possible, just be with Baba. Just be with Baba. Solitude. In Hindi we call it ekant prayer. And ekant in the understanding is going towards the end of one. That means finding, even going deeper to Baba as ocean. Ekant. But something solitude means concentration. How scattered the mind is. You are thinking of three things, four things at the same time. But my mind, my heart, my all focus at the moment, whatever I am doing at that moment, I could have just concentration. When I came to Baba, one of the most important benefit I noticed, I was in school, no, I had finished school, joined university. That concentration jumps when we come to Baba. Incorporeal, only one, not visible, and you have to remember him. It requires concentration, right? So these practices, commentary is very common, do the commentaries, but sharing the practice should be the unique thing, and that is kind of revision of knowledge and connecting with Baba. So we had been talking that instead of commentaries now, we should use Baba's practices. So recently I got, there is a YouTube, it has lot of practices. So I got them and I said, we want to start. Or even one of the Avyakti signal, you can practice on that so that our concentration increases. So as much you are mentally not only busy, but whatever practice you're doing, there is a saying that practice makes a person perfect. Anything, even physically, you cooking, you playing, anything requires practice, right? Doctor practice, engineer practice. So how do we keep practicing? So as much you practice, you will become perfect. So when we keep doing all this self-effort, you are creating and you are cultivating very pure sanskars, very divine sanskars, angelic personality. Because we all were here having discussion on subtle sanskars or influence of sanskar. Whatever is there cannot be transformed, it's replaced, right? If you have subtle habit of becoming forceful while speaking or louder or argumentative, which is not Baba likes, right? But it's sanskar which emerges and we don't realize, but it causes sorrow, creates atmosphere of, and plus we should always remember what I do, there are others, they will follow. And that becomes more harmful, right? If I speak sweetly, nicely, as much required, not go on and on, right? Then others notice, that helps them. When others do it, we don't like it. But from where they got this habit, right? Especially those who are more responsible in any kind of service, they have to be more attentive. Their face, their behavior, their interaction should be more alokik, as Baba had been saying, spiritual. Doesn't look like ordinary alokik personality. So creating these sanskars will replace old sanskars. Because sanskars emerge as words, habits, attitude, drishti. So we can't just focus on how to change sanskar, or we get very focused on sanskars. Right? But we have to be more focused on practices in making self-effort more and more. Then you don't see the influence. Not only one's own sanskars, but sometimes somebody is saying, this is not right, that's not right. Yes, yes, I agree with you. No. I have contentment, so I don't agree with anyone in the sense of when it is not positive. There is one sister, she said, oh, because I want to maintain good relationship, so I keep saying, yes, it's okay, even if it's not okay. No, we don't have to agree to something which is, but put something there very positive so that it can change others also. I know that each one of you, you are master knowledgeful, right? Because you listen to Murlis, which is the resource of jewels, right? It's a treasure store. So, no one really, even what I am telling you must have heard and know. But this is what I had been recently reflecting on and bring it in our personality. Right? Before people used to say, give us good wishes, and now people say, please give us blessings. So our practice is changing, but the demand, the need from us as yogis, as great souls, even the public, they give us blessings. And that is why we have printed, we keep printing blessing cards. If you cannot immediately, one person this time when we were coming, so there are 16 crew members, pilots for 20, so we bring 12 trolley for everyone. So one brother came, crew member, and said, you gave us card of blessing, but can you give verbal blessing? And he won't get up. He was sitting on the floor. Give me blessing. So I thought that means we have to be ready, not only to give card, but even to give drishti and verbal blessings. So increasing our spiritual capacity. Before was knowledge, now is good wishes, and now are blessings, right? So internally, as much the soul goes higher and higher, then the requests which come to you also will be higher, right? So it's really, really lovely to be with all of you, and I know that lot of majority might be staying on for the meeting and CCCs, and also because in ORC there is silence retreat. I know lot have gone there, the instruments, and becoming a very, very popular retreat. And you have reached to your pilgrimage place, your home. So every moment, whether personally, individually, or collectively, take full benefit as much you can. And very attentive on effort, but also double light. Happy, joyful, double light, right? Because at confluence stage, happiness is very important. When else? Golden age, people say we will be happy, but this is the time when there is so much sorrow, so much worry in the world, which is true for them because there's so much upheaval every day. So, yeah, I'm very, very happy, and of course, being at Baba's home, remembrance of Baba should be very natural, right? Madhvi, when?
Yes, Didi, thank you so much, Didi. You have
Okay.
emphasized on increasing our spiritual capacity and not just focusing on the sanskars, but to focus on the practices. And you have brought our attention back to Babdada's drills and how Babdada's drills will help us to increase our concentration. So that's very, very powerful, Didi, whatever you have shared. And just before you shared, we had a panel discussion facilitated by Brother Neville with Sister Sudha, Sister Luciana, and Brother Eric. And so it was on harmonizing sanskars. So Didi, can you guide us a few moments of a drill so that we can experience the double light stage that you just mentioned? Thank you.
Yeah. Om Shanti. I merge my abilities of mind and intellect to create oneness and inner harmony. And then be just with one Baba. Harmony, oneness with Baba. Then there is naturally harmony. Not with sanskars of others, but once I have harmony within the self and with Baba, then there is harmony of sanskars with everyone. Take few moments. Gop and Gopi was dancing with Krishna alone. As much I practice that, Om Shanti. I have troli for everyone. I know I'm not there, you are not up here, but I have a lot of troli waiting for you all.
Yes, Didi, we are all receiving your toli.
Okay.
And of course, your
Om
beautiful
Shanti.
presence. Yes,
Om.
your subtle presence. And can we all show our gratitude and love to Didi by waving, everyone? Unko di- Acha.
Love is all right, not gratitude. Okay, Om
Om
Shanti, and
Shanti
thank you.
Didi. Thank
Thank you
you.
for inviting me. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. So here is an important announcement for all those from Africas. So Sudesh Didi would like to